Just a little editor's note, all of the invasions that you're going to see in this video took place before 1.09. So the numbers at the end will actually be a little different from what happened in the actual invasions, if that makes sense. So the stats that you see at the end will all have like 1.09, patch 1.09, scaling, damage, and all that stuff. But the invasions themselves will be done with like 1.08 damage and scaling and stuff like that. Okay, hope that's clear. So what we are doing is we are going back, and when Elden Ring first came out, I just made a million builds, and didn't really, like, as soon as the build was finished, I would like play through the game with the build. I would invade as I was making the build, and then once I was finished with the build, you know, I would invade with it for a few days, and then on to the next one. I would make a different build. I had so many ideas in my head for builds I wanted to make that there was just like no slowing down or whatever. And as a result, you know, the game's been out for a year. It's been a long time since I've played with some of these builds, and so I thought, well, let's go back and play with some of the builds that we haven't played with in a while, and, you know, make sure they're as efficient as they can be. There's been patches since I last played with them, and I've learned new stuff. I know things better now than I knew before. So this is my Golden Order Fundamentalist, and this build is inspired by an old Dark Souls 3 build I had, which was like this vampire hunter build that used a whip and had a estoc or a rapier in the offhand. And I made that build, but the idea of like this vampire hunter in Elden Ring kind of makes sense because of the Golden Order and their hunt for the undead and stuff like that. So I thought, yeah, this is perfect. I'll make that, and I'll sort of combine the two. This is at level 60-ish. The stats and everything will be at the end. And I was surprised. People kept saying like, oh, you would have to be level 200 to make this kind of build work, int and faith, and that's just not, in my experience, it's not necessary. This build, the staff that you're seeing right there, is the Gelmir Glintstone staff, and that is actually kind of what sparked this entire thing to happen in the first place. I just turned on my game one day. I was walking around. I had to go here for some reason. I was after the Royal Knight's Resolve for the Irumi. The whip has a charged heavy attack that hits twice, and with Royal Knight's Resolve it can do, you know, a ton of damage. And I thought I should go grab that. As I'm going to do that, I happen across that serpent, and I know that it can drop this staff that increases Gelmir sorceries, the lava sorceries, but also it scales in faith. So if I was going to have a staff on this build, it would want to be this one. And so I was like, yeah, I should do that at some point. And that's kind of what started all of this. I was like, yeah, why not throw the Gelmir sorceries on this build? I haven't used them at all. I've never tried them out. They've been buffed in a couple of different patches on different patch dates. Like, they've received, you know, some buffs. Like, I should add those to this build. It makes sense. And so this entire series was born. I went and grabbed Marika's Source Seal because at level 60, why not? You know, that's exactly when you want to use that type of thing. And yeah, that gave me extra int and faith and mind. You know, that's too good to pass up for this build. So yeah, I basically just added a bunch of stuff. Of all the builds that I've done this little video series for, this is the one that has benefited the most in regards to had changes made to it. And you can see we've added the Volcano Manor Candlestick Whip to the build, and our S-Stock is cold infused, so we can proc Frostbite, and then we can get rid of it simply by hitting people with the whip. And it sort of goes with the Gelmir Glintstone staff, you know. And there's even an Inquisitor, which this build is She's called Inquisitor, I think. Confessor. She's called Confessor. Yeah, Confessor Quinn. But yeah, I was like, this works. This all works. It works too good. I like it. And yeah. But yeah, the Glintstone, Gelmir Glintstone staff is pretty cool. Scales in Faith and increases the Volcano magic stuff. So I got Rykard's Rancor as well. But in order to use Rykard's Rancor, I have to drink a plus 10 intelligence physic. And in order to cast Radigan's Rings of Light, I think I needed to have a plus 10 Faith physic. I didn't actually need the 10, I just needed some. I think I went even further and I changed up the talismans, and I got the Stargazer talisman so that I wouldn't need the physic, but I still use the physic because it still gives me such a big buff to the spells that I cast, which made it worth it. But yeah, really fun build, and I actually kind of want to like try this build without any of the Int Faith stuff, as weird as that sounds. I kind of want to do like a straight like physical version of this where we use the whip, and then we just use a bunch of like perfumes and bombs and you know, bolts, crossbow bolts and stuff like that. I think that could be fun to mess around with too. So I might do like a temporary respec of this build and you know, have at it, try something a little different. Instead of going Int Faith, just going like pure dex and you know, going all in on consumables for this type of build. I think could also be fun. But it was cool to play with the Volcano Manor, I'm sorry, the Gelmir lava sorceries. There's one that you can throw that's sort of like a time bomb. That one's neat. There's one you can throw that is sort of just a fireball that leaves like a trail of lava around. That one can do surprisingly good damage. And then Rykard's Rancor in the right situation can get off a lot of damage, but it's not like they could stand to buff that spell a little more. I can see it being annoying because of the hit stun, and so maybe that's why they don't. But I think it wouldn't hurt to, you know, if Rykard's Rancor got another buff. Maybe it's crazy at higher levels and that's why they don't buff it. I don't know. I could see that being the case because it's Int Faith and it's scaling with everything. Potentially. So, you know, there might be some reason to Rykard's Rancor. But yeah, here's all the spells that we have. The triple rings, Radigan's Ring of Light, what is the Krillin thing. This is the fireball one that I was talking about, and this one here is insane. You can do like a bunch of damage with that spell, Gelmir's Fury. You can do a lot of damage with that spell at point blank range. So here's the stats. You'll notice the vigor a little lower than what I typically go for, but not too bad until it doesn't seem too bad until you consider that I'm wearing that Source Seal, and as a result, there's my weapons and upgrade levels for the weapons, as well as the talismans that we're wearing. But that Radigan Source Seal is tanking my damage negation, and it's all negative. All of it. So there's the Int Faith, Wondrous Physic. Look at that. Negative damage negation. Oof. But yeah. Fun build. Like it. Gonna try it a little different, and I'll probably make a video about that too. Until then, later y'all.